These are the 5 misconceptions of guarantor loans. So about this month, I did about 6 guarantor loans. Basically, people who have 0% cash and they're using their parents' property for the deposit and the stamp duty and the miscellaneous costs. And hopefully these 5 misconceptions can help you if you plan to get a guarantor loan for your next purchase. So first of all, there's a lot of noobs that watch this channel. So hello noobs, and you must be asking, hey Q, what is a guarantor loan? How's that going to affect me? Well, let me give you an example and we can maybe go from there. So going to my drawing board, the best way to explain a guarantor loan is to explain why you need one. For example, when you're buying your first home or your first investment purchase, for example, the property is $1 million. Generally, if you want to avoid mortgage insurance, you will borrow 80%, which assumes that you have 20% deposit plus stamp duty. But what if you do not have the 20% deposit, which is $200,000 plus stamp duty, which could be $230,000 to $250,000? Well, this is where you insert the guarantor loan. And that's where you insert the guarantor portion. So the guarantor is basically your parents or your siblings that have property, or your grandma and grandpops, right? They will basically use their security to support the $200,000 to $250,000 to complete this purchase, because to buy $1 million property, it might cost $1,050,000. So the bank will come in with $800K, and the difference will be part of the guarantor loan. But obviously, when you're purchasing a property, how it works is you get a pre-approval over here, pre-approval with the guarantor loan to purchase this $1 million property. And thus, this begins the misconception number 1 of guarantor loans. And that is, it does not increase borrowing power. Let me repeat, guys, guarantor loans do not increase your borrowing power. I have spoken to 60 people this month in relation to guarantor loans, and about 6 or 10 went through to do the guarantor loan because the rest do not service of the guarantor loan. Let me digress. So out of, for example, the 60 people that I spoke to, there were 2 camps of people. Those that have the income that can service the $1 million property plus stamp duty, which involves a guarantor to complete the purchase. And there's those in the other camp, which is the 95 portion of the people that I speak to, their income's too low to even service the $1 million plus the stamp duty loan. You've got to remember, guys, your income trumps whatever equity is in your mother, sister, grandparents' property, right? So your income is this much and you can only borrow this much. I don't care if your mother has a property in Point Piper for $7 million unencumbered paid off, right? You cannot access that with your limited income. For example, some people who come to me and go, hey, we have $0 in savings, or we got like $5 in our bank account, but our parents have like a $3 million property, all right? And our income is, for example, combined, $150K, and we want to borrow to buy a $1 million property, which means you need to be able to service 80% and the 20% plus stamp duty. But this income cannot service this debt. And don't get shitty when I say you can't use the guarantor loan, but then you'll say, but wait a minute, my parents have a $5 million property, why can't I use that? Because the bank doesn't give a shit. They look at your serviceability. What can you do about it? Well, buy something cheaper, yo. Do you have to buy a $1 million property? Then naturally, these guys, basically, the other, 50 people I speak to will be like, well, if I can't buy this, then whatever. I don't give a crap about the guarantor loan. I'm gonna buy jack shit. All right, fine. You guys, I'll speak to you later, right? But for these guys who are earning, for example, 170 to even 180, who can service this and the guarantor portion, well, you can go ahead. We're getting a pre-approval right now, and you're gonna buy something very soon. Misconception number 2 is a lot of you guys who speak to me and go, oh wow, I never thought I can get a guarantor loan because I thought my parents need to be working. No, your parents don't need to be on some sort of income or full-time job, and your parents can be from 65 to even 78, right? They can still be guarantors. There are certain banks that will take the security off them even though they're bloody old. Misconception number 3 is you don't need a house to have a guarantor on that security. So for example, your parents might have a term deposit, and the bank can secure against the term deposit. Of course, they're going to sign an agreement that they're not going to close the term deposit during the term, that there's a caveat on it. So you don't actually need a house to do a guarantor loan. And misconception number 4 is a lot of people think, but a guarantor loan would sort of tie my parents' property down. Well, you can actually release equity from the new property you're buying to pay out the guarantor loan. Like the fastest one I've seen during the COVID days, someone got a guarantor loan in about 9 months. And it was a pretty hefty 120k guarantor loan. It got refinanced, equity released, and paid out the parents in 9 bloody months. And it's lucky they did that because they didn't have a single cent towards the purchase, but they had a lot of income and they want to ride the trend. So they got in with the guarantor loan. The property went up in a lot of value, and they released the parents of the guarantor. And fortunate for them, they entered into the market and they're enjoying the growth. Whilst if they waited and decided to buy now and do the traditional saving for the deposit, they will still be at the moment saving and chasing their tails because the property market would have went up. And misconception number 5 is you are 100% responsible for the debt. So a lot of guarantors or the parents will be like, if I go guarantor loan, does it mean that I have to make mortgage repayments? No. That's why you need to have a strong servicing income to borrow the entire debt and be responsible for the 80% plus the 20% plus stamp duty, because the guarantors are not responsible to pay the debt. But obviously, if you default and you guys effed off, you effed off to Hawaii and decide not to pay the mortgage, obviously they'll go after your parents' property to make them either discharge their loan or sell their property to pay back the guarantor portion. Obviously, you're not going to do that, because you're a really good kid and your parents raised you properly. So guys, those are 5 misconceptions, and I freaking did it again. A freaking 7-minute video. I'll try my hardest to get it next video at 3 minutes. That's my New Year's resolution, to freaking keep it more simple, because I know you guys say I talk too much, but hey, that is some information. Hopefully it helps you, and see you in the next video.